I'm a scientist.
Suffice it that the blood of 1,000 men and women was spilled within these walls. Limbs twisted and broken, eyes gouged from bloody sockets, flesh burned black.
Please. You'll wait for dead. In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes. What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
Warning, the following show contains conservative posturing, radical Christian ideas, and may offend pagans, Wiccans, Islamic fundamentalists, and other unenlightened individuals. Callers and guests may be subjected to brash and offensive comments by the hosts and any other type of bullying tactics available. But that's okay. We know why you're here.
This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
Tonight is Monday, June 4th, 2007.
What's up, man? What's up, guys? I hope you're able to hear us tonight because I forgot to change things out with Planet Paranormal. They're going to stop doing podcasting. So
That's what happens. Welcome to World of Unexplained.
God, this is pathetic.
Well, I had the enthusiasm. I just didn't have the enunciation and the elocution.
I understand
correctly.
I
Welcome
understand.
to World of the Unexplained.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
Trent Lackey.
I'm Jay Scott.
Scott, you sounded kind of mellow.
I'm just. I don't know.
Just get yourself comfortable, man.
Just kill the music. Kill the music. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay.
Are
you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just wiped out, man. That's all. It's hard. It's been a really rough month, or it's been a really rough last week and this week together.
Well, tell
so
us
far.
about it.
Well, it's just the process of actually starting a law firm is very
Time-consuming.
and painful
Yeah.
and expensive.
Like physically painful?
Expensive, painful, time-consuming. Yeah,
Oh. Yeah, it is painful in the pocket.
it's painful in the pocket, painful in the brain.
You have to move anything around, man? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I've moved some stuff around, but I'm buying stuff, man. Everyone's got their hand out for $200 here or $300 here. Or, I got a call today from some credit card thing going, who's taking your credit cards? I'm like, I've already got that figured out. And they're like, okay, well, we were just wondering. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Why don't you just tell them, leave me alone?
Well, I did. I mean, they're but telemarketers already at this. I mean, I just started getting all this together last week, like last Tuesday. Right? So, I mean, and already today, not even a week later, I've got a telemarketer calling me.
Well, they're just like herds of jackals.
They're pariahs.
They're waiting to tear apart that fresh carcass. That's what you are.
That is what I am, fresh meat.
To them.
I see there's no one in the chat room but me, probably because no one's listening to the show right now because they don't know that we're not on Planet Paranormal anymore, as is no one else, from what I understand.
Why don't you read that email?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What
Oh,
are
yeah.
you talking about?
So I've got this email that was sent to us by a fan.
Okay.
You're going to like this. I quote, "I always listened to Coast until there was you. Apply music. Great show, guys. I love it. You're so very cool, but you knew that, didn't you? I'll be listening from now on. A new fan. We out." Seriously, yeah, Chuck, you've gotten famous here. Virginia Menino, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And her website is www.hairlesskittens.com, and she enclosed in parenthesis, not what you think. So anyway, she actually sells hairless kittens from Russia, imported from Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, from Russia. Like the Dr. Evil cats. Seriously.
Hairless
from Russia.
cats
They're
from
really
Russia.
cute little cats, yeah.
You know what? It seems like a very inappropriate place to put hairless cats, though.
Russia is cold, yeah.
I mean, But
It's
I mean,
cold.
it's interesting. I didn't know they sold hairless cats.
But I usually don't
Interesting.
read fan mail, but I just like that one. That whole coast to coast line, that got me. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
That's huge, man.
It's huge. We out. That was great. We out. That was awesome. I enjoyed that. Okay, so
That was pretty cool. So thank you.
yes, thank you,
If you can hear us.
devoted listeners. If you were there, yeah, because I think all the stations have that same link. So
Yeah.
we're
I mean,
kicking it to no one right now, probably.
Podcast.
We're kicking it to the podcast. That's
Well, I
right.
mean-
That's okay though. You'll be able to hear this. They'll hear the podcast going.
I didn't know they had a show tonight.
Yeah, I
Wait a
thought they
minute,
canceled
weird.
or something.
There's a show.
Because the
They're
website hadn't been updated
Some kind of
since last
arbitrary
week.
force can do that over
Yeah.
our heads.
Network
Yeah.
executive.
Yeah, exactly.
Executives.
Yeah, ooh.
Known as Bruiser the Great, maybe.
That's right. He is.
Roscoe
He is
P.
great.
Coltrane.
Okay, so yeah, D, you might want to just call up that guest right
Yeah,
now while we're
let's go ahead.
while we're doing
babbling.
that. Yeah. Yeah, let's yeah.
Okay, Scott. Well, let me tell you guys, whoever's listening, if anybody, tonight's guest is Jason Offutt. He wrote a book called Haunted Missouri. I understand he's a university professor. Is that right, Scott?
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, because I haven't actually
And
spoken to him.
and a real cool guy. We talked shop with the English language. It was pretty neat.
Yeah. And talking about comma splices and hyphen stuff and
That's
active
right,
and
man.
passive voice.
Craziness.
You know,
Craziness.
Things like that. That what
Good
you're talking
stuff.
about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
The
speaking of comma
variation.
splices, when's the next time you're coming out with a newsletter?
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, well,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
it's there.
Okay.
But now, like, I'm like second guessing myself as far as the material and how I'm writing it. But it's all there. Anyway, I think D has already hooked him up. So
That's good. Okay.
let's bring him on, Scott.
Jason, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are y'all this evening?
Well, we may be kicking it to the podcast tonight, Jason. We're not sure if there's anyone listening to us.
What? Come on, everybody listens.
And no. The reason we're saying that is we switched servers actually, and I forgot about it until just a few minutes ago, and so a little bit.
We've sent a lot of
we get
emails.
a ton of podcast
Yeah.
downloads, so you'll be okay either way.
All right. Well, I was hoping the guy from Moberly'd call in.
Yeah, well, you never know. I've sent out some emails, and I think that a couple of the radio stations that carry us are cool. And if people can read and go to our Listen Live page, they'll note that the Planet Paranormal link is not there anymore, and
So they
maybe
can
they'll
choose.
click on one of the other ones. You know, so people don't like to read anymore, though. So we'll
Just
see.
wait and see.
Yeah. Anyway,
Don't say something like that to a guy who's just written a book.
well, hey, you know what I'm talking about. You're a college teacher.
Right.
Come on now.
exactly.
So I remember we talked shop a little bit about English language. It was good conversation, good stuff. And I want to let everybody know that Jason is actually a conservative college professor.
One of the very few to my knowledge.
I agree, and it's just a damn shame that there aren't more like you out there.
Well, it kind of frustrates me. I remember when I was in an undergrad and in grad school, I didn't really feel like I could speak my mind in class because some of the students who were reprimanded and actually ended up getting some bad grades, which really frustrated me. So I was a complete wuss and didn't say anything, but got a decent GPA out of it.
Oh, that's good. Okay. That's good. So you got to play ball with the liberals every now and then, and
Every now and then, yeah. When you're at their mercy, you have to play ball.
Right.
I understand. Well, let's talk about your new book. This is Haunted Missouri, for coming right from the Show Me state.
Well, hey, you know what? Can I break in with something?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's completely off Haunted Missouri topic, but it has to do with what we were talking about. I don't remember the name of the House bill, but the Missouri state legislature is considering a bill because a student from Missouri State University, her instructor had every person in class write a letter to their congressman supporting abortion.
Oh, wow.
She was conservative and doesn't support abortion, so she did not write the letter and got a bad grade. And she went to the state legislature about this, and they're proposing legislation that limits teachers voicing their political view in class.
Huh.
That's pretty crazy.
I find that very interesting.
I
that's
do too.
kind of heavy-handed, actually.
I don't know. called the
A little bit. As a teacher, I really don't want to be dictated like that from legislators.
Well, that's understandable.
Well, I mean, I'm just upset. I mean, I don't know if you heard our show a few weeks ago. We were talking about the one kid in high school that had used the phrase "that's so gay" when referring to something, and well, basically what happened was she was taken to the principal's office and then punished for saying that. Even though they made fun of her for being a Mormon, she gets in trouble for saying "that's so gay."
Right. Actually, we talked about that in one of my classes.
Oh, okay. So you're familiar with that then?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, come on. What a double standard we've got going on. You see, the liberal mentality is that, there's everyone, we're open to all kinds of ideas except for yours.
That's because liberals who preach tolerance are the least tolerant people.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Absolutely.
Thank God we have someone with some brains on the show. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I did, which is a total faux pas on my part? You guys were going to start talking about my book, and I stopped you.
That's
No, that's all right.
That's fine, man. We got a long time.
We got a long time to talk about the book.
So anyway, let's talk about the book then. What is your favorite story in the book?
My favorite story has to do with Hannibal, Missouri. I was actually there for a book signing just this weekend. It's a beautiful little town. But if you want to see anything with the name Becky Thatcher on it, go to Hannibal. Anyway, there was a cave. There's a cave in Hannibal called Mark Twain Cave. When he was a child, he would go there. He and friends would make a 3-mile trek out of town to go to this cave, and he wrote about it in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. It was the one where Tom and Becky Thatcher got lost.
Okay, yeah.
He also wrote about actually this very story in Life on the Mississippi. There was a doctor back when Twain was a child who wanted to preserve a human body. He wanted to figure out some way to completely petrify and preserve a human body. He found this cave. The surgeon was from St. Louis. This cave in Hannibal is 52 degrees year-round, has constant humidity. It was perfect for his experiment. Trouble is he didn't have a dead body.
Oh.
Well, his 14-year-old daughter died of pneumonia, and he had a dead body. That's fairly creepy, taking your 14-year-old daughter, sticking her in a glass-lined copper tube, and then filling it up with alcohol and hanging her from the ceiling of a cave.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
That's creepy enough as it is, but Twain swore in his Life on the Mississippi that he didn't do this, but some of the older children would take younger children into the cave. They'd go back to that room where she was hanging from the ceiling, tell ghost stories, and then the older children would unscrew the lid and pull her head out by the hair.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Of course, the parents were a little bit upset about this. The parents of Hannibal, and they eventually got the guy to take his daughter out of the cave.
Obviously, the parents were conservatives.
Obviously, yeah. And they now the reason it's in the book, ghost story wise, is I've talked to a couple of different tour guides who've been tour guides there over the years, and there's a picture of the girl in the cave, and they have seen in the cave a girl who looks like that walking around when nobody's supposed to be in there.
Huh.
So that's my favorite story, just mainly from the creepiness of putting your 14-year-old daughter in a tube of alcohol and hanging her from a cave.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Has writing this book changed the way that you feel about paranormal experiences?
No, not really. I've always been interested in the paranormal. I saw a ghost when I was about 8 years old.
Yeah. We talked about that off air. Can you tell our listeners about that?
Well, I was about 8 years old. We'd lived in a converted 2-room schoolhouse, and I was walking into a hallway. It was brightly lit. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was walking to get a book, and there was a little boy in there about 6 years old, which was strange because I was the only boy in the family. And I could still see his tousled brown hair, and he was wearing a flannel shirt and blue jeans, and I could see the bookshelf through him.
Ooh.
I wasn't afraid, but I turned around and walked into my room and shut the door and didn't tell anybody about it for about 30-some years.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a ghost. I don't know what it was. 8-year-old kids see a lot of strange things.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Did you have any imaginary friends when you were growing up?
No, I didn't have any imaginary friends. Didn't talk to anybody. Didn't hear voices. I saw shadow people. I didn't know if that's what they were called, but I saw shadow people walk through my room for years.
Well, you know, Trent used to see shadow people when he was a kid.
Yeah, I did.
I think I mentioned that to you before. Just a weird story that he had about one.
Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah, my experience wasn't exactly very pleasant. It was a lot of malice, I guess, coming from this particular shadow person. You know, and it kind of haunted me for a couple of years. Like I'd frequently see it from time to time. You know.
You know, I saw this. There was a TV show that used to come on years ago, Jason. I don't remember what it was. It was like one of these mystery programs that used to come on at night, kind of like a Twilight Zone. And maybe it was the new Twilight Zone when they remade it when I was a kid. So this would have been, 20 years ago, maybe a little longer, but it was in color.
Tales from the Dark Side was on about that time, too.
Was it on prime time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on prime time.
Yeah, Tales from the Dark Side.
Maybe that was it then, but I remember this one story that still sticks with me to this day, just scared me to death because it was about a little kid that did all these mean things to other kids. And he was out playing on this swing set in the middle of this park, and this boogeyman type guy finally like caught up to him. And I remember the last scene of it. It shows like the gloved boogeyman had the mask on his face, like grabbing the boy by his neck and picking him up off the swing set.
Huh.
And that just stuck with me all these years to this day.
Why, were you mean to kids when you were a kid?
Yeah.
No, actually, I was the one that got beat up all the time. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, me and Trent got the dirt kicked in our faces.
Yeah.
I remember many a
It
time.
was
Yeah.
really, really nasty. So maybe that was maybe secretly, Scott, you're hoping the bullies.
Maybe I was. Maybe I
boogeyman
was.
coming-
Internal, I don't know. Is that lightning? Ooh.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, it looks like we've got listeners now. People have started to figure this out. We're good. All right.
All right.
But I want to have you back on. What are you doing next week? You want to come back on for an hour?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, because we don't have anybody for our time slot next week in the second hour. We've got Robbie Thomas the first hour, and I'd like to get everybody reacclimated that may have missed this show. So
Okay, no, fantastic. It'd be great.
okay, and we can come back on and pimp the book again. But anyway, let's continue to where we were going. Go ahead, Trent.
I guess I was going to back up a little bit, but you said you're interested in the paranormal for a long time. You had a ghost experience, but what was that pivotal moment where you decided, I'm going to go to these haunted places and look for ghosts myself? When did that happen?
Well, that's I think the pivotal moment had to do with the prospect of getting an article published. I had, a few years ago, back in 2004, I'd written a query letter to Missouri Life magazine. I wanted to do a story on a couple of haunted spots that I knew about because, you know, it's fun to go to haunted spots. I'd gone to a few haunted spots all through growing up and had a great time because of the obvious creepiness of it. But I wanted to get paid for it. And, you know, if you're working as a journalist, you don't have to pay to get in these places.
That's
It's
true.
just a benefit.
You can only
Anyway,
imagine all the free stuff we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, like two books.
Exactly.
For me,
Thanks for sending those. We appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed them.
Oh, yeah.
They're good.
But I had, as a kid, I was one of those guys who all my buddies were ordering out of the Scholastic Book Club catalog. They were ordering books on baseball players and football players, and I was ordering books on Yeti and the Loch Ness Monster.
Sound like Trent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that weird kid, and I just had never gone anywhere, you know, with exploring it, until I came up with this opportunity, and that, after the article was published, fell right into the book.
Now, how old are you, Jason?
Just turned 42 on Friday.
Okay. All right. So, well, happy birthday. You're about 10, 12 years older than us.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I don't know when that book came out, but do you remember a book? It was written for kids back in the day. It was by Nancy Garden, a book called Vampires.
No.
Okay. All right. Never mind. Moving right along.
I kind of killed that, huh?
Yeah, we were those weird kids too. There was
Yeah.
another one by Daniel Cohen and we actually had him on a long time ago. He wrote a book called Werewolves.
Yeah.
For Scholastic, and he just re-updated a book on vampires not too long ago. But I think it's that's a lot of times that's where it starts. The interest in the parapsychology. It starts in the in the tender years.
Those type of experiences, watching In Search Of, hosted by Leonard Nimoy.
That's a great
back
series.
In the 70s, yeah, that helped spur my interest, and I was a huge Twilight Zone fan as a little kid, and I still am.
Oh yeah, good stuff. You always have those one or two episodes that just stick in your mind, you know.
Oh, the Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah. I mean,
the main one that sticks in my mind is the guy in coveralls. All of a sudden, the story starts. He's walking down a dirt road and has no idea where he is. Every time he walks into a diner, food's cooking, jukebox is on, coffee's still hot, nobody's there.
Huh? What
Walks
happens?
through the entire town, and it's just like that. It's like everybody just up and left 2 minutes ago.
Wow.
It was a military experiment how the thing ended out. But anyway, that's the one that sticks in my head.
Well, I'll share mine real quick.
Why not?
I don't know if any of you guys remember this one, but there was basically a guy and his wife. They wake up, and all these people, these blue guys in construction gear and hats and everything, are moving stuff around. They're like picking up their their yard, and they're rolling it up, and they're picking up the house and moving it, and they're rebuilding a town. And apparently they got jumped out of time somehow, and these guys come in and fix everything before the next day. Is this ringing a bell?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, and so they're out of time, but these people are like making the time move ahead or something like that, right, Scott?
Yeah, something like that. It was really weird. Do you remember that one, Jason? Probably
No,
not.
I mean you pulled one out that I'm drawing a blank on.
Oh, Chuck's on the internet again, looking for Twilight Zone episodes.
I like the
William Shatner, Airplane, Gremlin, just black and white. Nightmare 20,000.
Nightmare 20,000 feet, starring Shatner. Yeah.
Oh, William Shatner. I love the new show. Denny Crane.
I like
man.
the one I like, Scott, was the shoot, what is it? The guy, he's like a criminal or something, and he wakes up in the nice hotel, and he's sitting there, and there's this nice, pleasant man, you know, it's like he's a maitre d' or something like that. And he's going like, man, I'm living the sweet life, you know, and the whole episode he's living the sweet life. And then I can't remember exactly what happens, but somewhere there's a moment where it's like, wait a minute, I'm not losing at all at game. I'm winning every single time. And then
he wakes up in hell or something?
No, he realizes that that's his hell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
And the maitre d' is like the devil, you know?
Yeah, I think I've seen that
I always
one.
enjoyed that one. That one and the one there where they had the Castro guy. And anyway, and something involving the mirror. Yeah, okay.
Well, we're...
Nice.
I do this in class all the time. Get completely off topic.
You know, you've heard our show, man. You know that's what we're all about. We just jump from place to place.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It really is. It's about time for a break, though. We're going to go ahead and take that.
Right.
So hang tight with us, guys, that you're out there listening. If you want to talk with Jason, is it Offutt? Is that
Offutt.
it? Okay, Jason Offutt. That number here is 877-722-7382, 877-SCARE-U2, or locally 336-996-1596. You're listening to World of the Unexplained, and we'll be back.
And we're back. World of the Unexplained. There, I said it right that time.
Yeah.
Guys, the numbers tonight are 1-877-722-7382 or 1-877-SCARE-U2. The local number is 336-996-1596. Give us a call. We know some of you guys have found out what's going on. Talk to Jason tonight.
Yeah, Jason
Offutt,
Offutt.
Missouri.
Haunted Missouri, the
yes.
Show Me State.
The Show Me State. You know what? I'm just going to
Love that.
pause
I'm
here for a second. But why do they call it the Show Me State? I'm just curious, Jason.
I don't know. I've lived here for 42 years, and I've never figured that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're called the Tar Heel State, but I mean, there's a lot of
It's because we have tar on our heels.
No, I mean, one of the rumors is that it's a Civil War reference. You know that the Confederate troops from North Carolina would hold their ground. So Lee said, that we had tar on our heels because we didn't run away.
That's right. We're not a bunch of sissies here.
Yeah, the same story is applied also to maybe to the Revolutionary War too.
Huh.
So it probably has to do with the fact that our state animal is the mule, picked because of stubbornness.
The mule.
Show me probably has something to do with
Yeah,
that.
you got to show me before I'll believe it, kind of thing.
Yeah, or maybe the people who founded this state just like to show their opinion by mooning other people. I don't know.
Well, let's get into the book a little bit. I want to talk about the first story about you visiting this jail. Chuck, could you hand me that book because I don't remember the name of the jail? All right, thanks. Let's see here. I'm gonna look up the name of this
Probably
jail.
1859 Marshall's Home and Museum in Independence, Missouri.
That was it. That's what I'm looking at now. And these pictures are pretty creepy, man. About the guy and the bed and the noises. What did you get the feeling that the man you were talking to, the tour guide? I guess I call him that for no better term because I don't remember his exact job, but I know that he gave tours of this place. Did you feel that he was sincere in the story he told you about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And all the people throughout the book who I spoke with, if I felt somebody was yanking my chain, I'd leave them out. I've been a journalist for about 18 years before I started teaching journalism at a university, and I've got quite a bit of experience being able to pick out people who are making things up and people who are being sincere. And this guy was really sincere.
Okay.
So did you encounter a couple of people like that when you were writing this book?
What, sincere or otherwise?
The otherwise.
Otherwise, yeah. And a basic rule of thumb I have with people, if somebody says that they can see dead people, I'll kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. If they say they've seen Bigfoot, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. If they say, they've seen a UFO, again, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt to begin with. But if they have seen a UFO, see ghosts,
and Bigfoot,
they talk to dead people, they've seen Bigfoot, and they've given JFK a back rub in the last 2 weeks, then I really don't believe them that much.
I can understand that.
That's fair.
Veracity might be a little bit in question at that point.
One amazing ability, okay, but several. I see where you're going with that. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, I was just gonna say, how did the graveyards differ from some of the other locations that you went to, or did they differ at all?
Which graveyard? I went to a bunch.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but if you compare the graveyards to the other locations, like the restaurants and the...
Oh, graveyards are the most peaceful places on the planet.
Okay.
I absolutely love graveyards. When I used to, when I was in high school, I'm going to leave that out.
Go ahead. Go ahead, tell us.
Great place to take a date.
Oh man, you were one of those weirdo kids.
Yeah. Great. Anyway, no, graveyards are pretty peaceful. I've really never experienced anything negative in a graveyard, except one, which is in this book. Workman Chapel is a dilapidated building that hasn't been used as a chapel for about 50 years. And I stopped there, stayed for about an hour. I had to go back later to finish, but, a couple days later. But at that point, at about 10 o'clock at night, standing outside, I felt so claustrophobic. My chest got tight, my breathing got labored, and I had to leave.
Huh.
And I got in the car and I left. I don't know what it was. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. I didn't feel any change in temperature, nothing. I just felt panicky and had to leave, and that never happens to me.
Well, Trent and I'm not going to disclose any location, but when we were in high school, we used to play hide and seek at this really, really huge graveyard around here somewhere. Shut up, Chuck. Shut up. Yeah, it was the Winston one.
Thanks, Chuck, for blowing our
It's
secrecy.
okay. I think the statute of limitations is probably run on that by now for trespass. I don't know. I can check it out later, and then I'll just delete the archive of that section. If I'm wrong, I'll delete the archive. But yeah, we used to play hide and go seek there. We'd bring out. You remember Steven used to come with us?
Oh,
we had
yeah.
a bunch of friends. He'd bring his girlfriend.
Because this place was huge, though. And it was
mausoleums.
It was set in a big depression. So, you're lower down anyway, and it would get very dark.
You could climb on top of things. We're talking acres and acres, the big drop down, a lot of, just a really cool place to play, And we'd go there at night.
Obviously, it's not quite the same,
But yeah, so I guess we can kind of get into your weird vibe there, Jason.
Yeah. I hung out there a lot.
Yeah, the jail, you'd ask how that differed a little bit from cemeteries. The jail was really cool because it was nice and limestone and dank, and it had the same cell doors that it had had since 1859. And the guy I interviewed and another person I interviewed said that they know they're there alone and can hear the jail cell doors open and close.
Yeah, and one of the things that was mentioned by one of your witnesses was that the bed covering was all messed up, like someone had slept in it.
Right. And that's a room that Frank James had stayed in when he was a guest. They never called him a prisoner because he was a celebrity at the point where he was in jail, and he was eventually pardoned by the governor of Missouri. So they never locked the door. He stayed there. He ate with the marshal and his family. People came to visit, but that was his room, and obviously he's still there. One Christmas they put a Christmas tree and Christmas decorations in that room, and the next day when they came in, they were all out in the hall.
Wow.
They were all nobody that the people know about. Nobody should have been in there.
Well, Chuck has found us the reason that the state's motto is the Show Me State.
Okay, well, let's hear it, Chuck.
Apparently, this related to the state's motto of Show Me, which originated with Congressman William Van Diver, who declared in a speech that, quote, "I come from a country that raises corn and cotton, cockleburrs, and Democrats, and frothy eloquence neither convinces nor satisfies me. I'm from Missouri, and you have got to show me."
Huh.
So there you go.
Well,
I'm glad I learned something. This is an educational program.
we all learned something. We all did. Speaking of learning something, I never really thought about this, but from what I remember of American history, Missouri was what they call a border state. And so I'm assuming it was a non-slave state, but there are a lot of Confederate sympathizers, and consequently, and it only stands to reason that there would be a lot of battlefields. Hence, so like for example, in what was the name, Lone Jack, and that mansion that I can't remember the name of, the really big house where the battle raged, and they used it. It had been taken by Confederates and Union Confederates. That's just something I never thought about.
The Anderson House in Lexington, Missouri.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You hear a lot of stories about some of the more famous battle sites and how they're assumed to be haunted. For example, like Gettysburg and Antietam. Did you find when you went to these places where these big Civil War battles went on, did you find them to be very heavy as far as spooky things go, or kind of quiet?
Well, during the entire researching of the book and going to all 32 of these haunted spots, I only experienced things in 4 different places. So, as of the spookiness, I really can't say. From the people I interviewed, however, the emotions of the area seem to be stronger than some of the others, because especially at Lone Jack, thousands of people were killed in a day.
Yeah.
And it was a huge battle raging down in south of Springfield, really close to Arkansas, was Wilson's Creek battlefield. There were a lot of deaths there. I've talked to people who said that they can stand on a hill where a lot of cannons were and just feel something heavy upon them physically. So where it seems where a lot of death and a lot of heavy emotions were, that there are a lot more paranormal activity.
Yeah, that stands to reason.
Well, I've got a question. Looking through on page 6 of your book, The Guide to Ghostly Places, where you list all the places that you went to, it seems like they're concentrated. It's like you've got all the way over on the St. Louis side of the state, all the way over to the east, and then all the way over to the west on the Kansas City side, and then like just a little bits and pieces everywhere else, a little bit in Springfield, a little bit in Joplin, a little bit in Hannibal, a little bit in Jefferson City. What about the rest of Missouri? I mean, why did you pick these locations for a specific reason, or are these just the most popular of the haunted places in Missouri?
There are a few reasons why I picked things. What I wanted with this book is not just a book of ghost stories. I wanted a book of ghost stories, but I wanted it to be something else. I wanted it to be a guidebook, hence the subtitle, A Ghostly Guide to the Show Me State's Most Spirited Spots. I wanted anybody visiting Missouri who was interested in history and interested in the paranormal to be able to go to these places.
Okay.
The places had to be open to the public. So even if you had to pay to get in, it was still open for you to go. I didn't want to have there were a bunch of private residences that had some pretty neat stories that I didn't bother with because I didn't want the owners of the home to get knocks on the door at 11 o'clock at night with strangers wanting to come in.
Right.
That's true. It's kind of like a Frommer's Guide to Ghostly Missouri.
It's kind of a cool concept, really. And also, I appreciate the fact that you give all the website, phone number, hours, locations at the
admission prices, all that.
Yeah, at the end of each story, so that people.
Hey, I want to be as reader friendly as possible.
Yeah,
no, but it is. It's kind of like a Frommer's Guide with neat stories attached.
I don't know if I've read a ghost story or
in Frommer's.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying, Scott.
Yeah,
so.
I do.
Well, I also kind of wanted this to be different than any of the other ghost books out there.
Well, I think you definitely got that.
It certainly is.
Tell us about the newspaper article that you write, the column.
Well, I write actually. I'm fairly busy. I write three different columns. It's really kind of eclectic. I've been a humor columnist for about 12 years. I also write a cooking column once a month, and then I write about spooky stuff on top of that. The paranormal column I write is called From the Shadows. It's published in the Independence Examiner. You can find that online at examiner.net.
Okay.
I've also...
is that a weekly column?
Excuse me? It's weekly, every Wednesday.
Okay.
So every Wednesday afternoon it should be posted. I've also got archives on from-the-shadows.blogspot.com. The last entry on that blog is me apologizing for not having any more new entries because I'm working on my next book and I had to put something aside while I concentrate on it.
Oh, well, what are you working on?
I'm working on a book about the basic theme is when people think of paranormal things, they think of Gettysburg, they think of Roswell, New Mexico, they think of Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest. For most of the country, those places aren't very close to home.
Yeah, you're right.
The basic gist of the book is, hey, look, there's paranormal stuff right out your back door. So in a radius of about 300 miles around my house, I'm going and I'm reporting on Bigfoot encounters and ghost stories and a UFO crash and all sorts of other fun stuff.
Oh,
that's cool.
Well, tell us about your cooking thing. I'm interested in this actually.
Well, I've written a column called The Guy's Kitchen for a magazine called The X. That's www.thex.info. I learned to cook in college out of necessity.
Didn't we all? Ramen noodles.
I loved those. I had three things in my life when I was in college apart from studying, and that was
beer and
driving, eating, and beer. Okay, and I had enough money for one of those things.
The beer.
So I went hungry and I walked a lot. Yeah, it was the beer. But my mom and grandma would always send me to school with cans of this, boxes of that, bags of this, and I just got so hungry to where I started experimenting, putting things together, and found out that, you know what, I can cook. So the basic gist of the column, it's called The Guy's Kitchen, and it's really simple recipes presented in a hopefully humorous way to have guys cook and impress chicks in 3 easy lessons.
Oh, wow. Okay. Uh-oh. D has a broccoli slaw recipe he wants to send you.
That scares the heck out of me.
It scares the heck out of me, too.
Apparently it has ramen noodles in it, though.
Oh,
please,
God.
send it to me. And I'd love to hear from anybody who's got any paranormal stories or a broccoli slaw recipe. Can I give my email address?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Jason Offutt. That's JASON OFFUTT @hotmail.com.
Okay, awesome. And what's your website, Jason?
My website is jasonoffutt.com.
Okay, hey, original. I bet that domain wasn't taken.
The really strange thing, a few years ago I wrote a humor column because I found 5 other Jason Offutts in the country.
Wow.
And I emailed them all a survey, and they all emailed me back.
Wow.
And although we were not all the same age, there was a guy in his 20s. Most of us were about my age, but there's a guy fairly much younger than me. We were all of the same political persuasion, we all had some of the same interest, as in reading and genres of things that we read, and we all liked beer.
Okay.
So there's something with the name. I don't know.
And well, where? I've never heard the name until I saw your book. What?
The name Offutt is Welsh in origin. A lot of Welsh Offutts came to Kentucky originally, and then they radiated west from there.
That's why none of them are in the South. Well, and I don't know. Maybe there are now, but that name was I've never heard very strange to me. I'd never heard it before.
There is an Air Force base. It was a SAC headquarters at one point, Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
And I had an uncle research why it was called Offutt, because it's really cool to have your name attached to an Air Force base.
Yeah.
And that Offutt was the first first pilot to die in World War I.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's not that cool. He crashed his airplane on takeoff.
Oh, on takeoff?
It was World
War I.
It was World War I.
It was World War I.
Planes were meant to have canvas and wood. Okay?
Oops.
You had to fire your rifle. You didn't even have a machine gun until. You had to actually fire your rifle while you're flying the plane. It wasn't easy being a pilot.
I've got Robin. Scott just yelled Omaha over the chat room because that's one of the stations that were on Robin Valley Radio out of Omaha, Nebraska.
1160.
I'm not sure. He's going to hate me for saying that. I'm not sure. I think it might be 16 something actually.
Okay, well
he'll tell me.
1 and a 6 in it.
Yeah, actually it's in Bellevue, Nebraska, but certainly the Omaha metro area. That's what he just told me here. So anyway, but yeah, God, where was I going?
I don't know. You're talking about cooking,
yeah.
Humor and
I was actually going somewhere with the whole book goes. Oh, I know where I was going.
Okay.
So you're conservative. I'm assuming you're a Christian conservative.
Yes.
Okay. How does that fit into your belief system? The paranormal. How does it fit into your belief system?
If you look at a lot of things in the Bible, there are a whole lot of paranormal things that happened in the Bible. So does paranormal exist? Yeah, I've seen and heard and smelled some things that are unexplainable to me, and there are lots of interesting things in the Bible that support that yes, the paranormal exists. What it is, I think, would be the question.
Okay, I just want to clear this up real quick. He's in Omaha. Offutt is in Bellevue. That's what he said. You're in Bellevue?
It's close to Omaha.
Okay. Well, he's at 1690. That's the station. Anyway.
1690.
But anyway. All right. So, yeah, there are a lot, the Bible is the most probably supernatural book around. I'll agree with that. And there are a lot of... Well...
that
That's not
doesn't
a real
exist.
I'm sorry.
That's made up.
But yeah, there are a lot of strange things that happen in the Bible, Old Testament and New alike. Mm-hmm. But I mean, how do you? I mean, do you think most of this is demonic activity? Do you think that it's? I mean, you tell me.
Well, if following the Bible, you've got to say that yes, it is demonic activity. Anything regarding a Ouija board is what's talking to you. All going from the Bible, and actually most of the people who are familiar psychics that I've interviewed have all claimed that yes, anybody you talk to via Ouija board it is most probably a demon.
No. Rich Andrews told us last week that.
Go away.
Told us to say go away and the demons
get
lost. That was it.
And the demons.
Rich, if you're listening tonight, just feel free to pick up the phone and call.
There are Christians who do speak to spirits. I was covering a spiritualist convention for a newspaper a number of years ago, and I was interviewing a woman who'd been a spiritualist for a very, very long time, and she explained to me that a spiritualist believes in the Bible, but they also believe in talking to the other side. One of the things that kind of freaked me out a little bit is I asked her, how does one become a spiritualist? And she said, a couple different ways. It could be just like you. You were born a Methodist, so you were a Methodist. Okay, I was a Methodist, and I didn't tell her that. Or it could be like your mom, who was a Catholic, but then converted to being a Methodist when she married your dad, which had happened. My mom was Catholic and converted to being a Methodist when she met Dad. I don't know where this woman got that information because I didn't say anything about it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, demons floating around everywhere, and they know a lot of stuff that that happens. I mean, that's one of my theories anyway. But then again, I like to brand everything as being demonic.
Yes,
that's one of my that's one of my downfalls, I suppose, in the paranormal. But I don't know. It is strange.
Well, and I've heard a lot of people, and I've read some literature. A lot of people are saying that they believe UFOs and their occupants are demonic.
Yeah. I've had a couple guests that feel that way, and I support that somewhat.
Okay, well, it's an interesting theory, and who am I to say it's not right? But I personally haven't really made my mind up on that one yet.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
I mean, it is pretty interesting, though, to think about UFOs and to think about how they've evolved throughout the decades. You know, the fact that UFOs were airships back when balloons first, we started using balloons to fly, and then they turned into Foo Fighters during World War II that were just ahead of our airplanes, and then they turned into ships that were faster than our jet planes, and that sort of evolution, I think, is kind of strange.
Yeah, definitely. You would think they'd be thousands of years ahead of us. I mean, I don't know.
Right, so it could show a different intelligence, a demonic intelligence, if you will, monitoring us and just keeping one step ahead.
Possibly, and let's not forget the flying humanoids that seem to be all the rage. So, yeah, you haven't heard that?
No.
I'm a big Superman fan myself.
Well, yeah, apparently, I mean, I've watched a number of shows about this, and apparently the new craze are they're not even in spaceships anymore. They're flying
around.
Humanoids. And, I liken it. I just figured it was just James Bond in a jetpack, but apparently.
Well, are they flying Superman wise?
No, apparently.
Are they flying like Mothman?
It seems
Mothman.
Like, oh, don't.
Got to bring Mothman up.
Yeah, I guess so.
We will.
No, there's some video footage they caught, and it seemed like the humanoid wasn't flying with arms in the air, flying with a cape or anything. It looked like he was attached to some kind of an apparatus, but it was small. Yeah, it really did remind me of James Bond in one of those jetpack things, except it wasn't creating any kind of...
So has anybody got any pictures of these
flying
humanoids? Really?
Yeah, apparently so.
The trouble with pictures nowadays is you can do anything with Photoshop.
Exactly.
Oh, it's great.
A real picture, nobody's going to believe you.
You're right. Even with video, there's a lot you can do in After Effects and things like that.
Exactly.
Final Cut Pro, stuff like that. You can really, it's tough.
And you'd think that with all of this digital equipment that we've got and all the programs and as good as we can make something look, you'd think some hoaxer would come up with a better Bigfoot video than that. The junk we've
yeah, come on.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Have you heard anything about this Beast of Bray Road?
Yeah, actually, I read the book a couple of years ago. I've got a friend who lives in Janesville, which is really close to there, and I was going to go to Bray Road, and my wife wouldn't go anywhere near it.
Well, we've got a good interview up about that, though. So.
Yeah, we talked to the
archive
lady who wrote it not too long ago.
Actually, it has been a while back. So she's due for another interview.
That's true.
Yeah, the Beast of Bray Road kind of frustrates me a lot like Mothman. I want some really cool creature like that to show up in my state so I can cover it.
Well, I
want to write a book on something like that.
Have you been to West Virginia where the Point Pleasant?
No, I sure haven't.
You should take a trip out there. It's really, really creepy little town. Oh yeah, I went down there. Yeah, me and my girlfriend.
I heard you guys' interview with Lauren Coleman way back when talking about Point Pleasant.
Oh yeah. I went up there. My band was playing in Charleston, West Virginia, and me and my girlfriend were up there. And I was like, you know what? It's only an hour and a half drive or whatever it was.
Let's go.
So we drove up there, and it was the hotel. We stayed at the hotel there. It was I don't remember the name of it now. Yeah, we got to take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about it. Guys, call us. World of the Unexplained. We'll be back, and we have returned. Your own World of the Unexplained. The number's here, 877-722-7382. That's toll-free in the United States and Canada, but not in Mexico. I'm not even going to talk about this. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it just for a little bit.
Are you serious?
No, I don't think it is toll-free in Mexico. But the thing is, a lot of people in America are getting really upset about this whole, English should be the language of America. And they're calling people racist that believe that English should be the language of America, the official language.
What do we speak?
We speak English, and
a lot of people are forgetting our own history. My grandmother's my grandmother's parents came over from Germany, and they wouldn't let my grandma speak German. when she was a little kid. They wouldn't let her because you know why? They were in America.
And you speak English in America.
And they speak English, so you won't speak German. You speak English.
You know, and I don't mind them speaking their native language. Anybody, I mean, I don't mind any foreigner that comes over here speaking their native language in their home and their community. You know, but when you go out into the world, you know, you kind of you need to assimilate, and that's a problem. They don't want to assimilate anymore. They want their own little worlds set up in our big one.
Yeah, unless you're the Quebecois in Canada, but
that's right. Bill 101, baby. That's right. Anyway, I'm going to get off that. Let's get back to your book here, Jason.
Okay.
Okay, Trent's like, okay.
I had a question queued up. No.
Go ahead.
Basically, I just wanted you to talk about the spook light while you're there.
The spook light south of Joplin, Missouri. Yeah, it's and the funny thing is, this weekend when I was in Hannibal, which is almost exactly the opposite end of the state from that, this legend I'm going to tell you, the same one was written on a stone outside Lover's Leap. So this is a really old story, and it's used everywhere. But allegedly, back in the 1800s, an American Indian couple were going to get married. The father didn't approve of the groom, and he had a bunch of guys chase him. So the groom and this guy's daughter ran. They were chased to the end of a cliff, and they held hands and jumped off. And ever since the 1800s, there's been this glowing ball of light, this will-o'-the-wisp, about basketball size, that bounces through the woods and now up and down this one road. That's supposedly one of the couple looking for the other one.
Now, have you? I know my buddy Joshua P. Warren has a similar theory about the lights up at Brown Mountain. They do something similar. And what do you remember his theory exactly, Trent? It's something to do with the electromagnetic charge and the humidity and things like that.
Yeah, it was basically, I mean, it's pretty much that. It's atmospheric conditions and then the geological structure of the mountain, you know, coincide to create these light effects. I don't know the technical details, but that
Josh does. But I don't know him either. What do you think about something like that? Maybe as a possible.
Well, there have been the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers back in 1946 did a study on the spook light, and they determined that it was geologic in nature, gas being released.
Yeah.
But interviewing people whose families have lived in that area for forever, and people have just happened to go down there, they've seen this. They've been sitting in their car on that road, and it comes bouncing down the road, comes up to the hood of their car, disappears when it's going to hit their windshield, and then reappears at the back of the car, and then it keeps bouncing down the road. That I really can't say is any sort of gas escaping from the limestone.
Yeah. I mean, a good point. It's kind of like the whole Mothman thing, chasing your car. That ain't gas.
Yeah, exactly.
And the government says that the whole Roswell incident was a weather balloon. And,
oh my gosh! Don't even get me started on that.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Is our phones not working, Chuck? What's going on here? D, are we not getting a signal from our phones? We don't have a dial tone. No, that's why y'all can't call in tonight. There ain't no dial tone.
The numbers, by the way, are 877-722-7382.
The numbers,
scare you too.
Oh my gosh! You know what? It's Embark's fault. These people control my phone lines here and in my office, and I have a thing for them, a bad thing. Anyway,
there was a movie back in the 1960s starring James Colburn called The President's Analyst, and he was a shrink for the president. But when it came down to everything to do with espionage in the world, when it came down to who was controlling the entire planet, it was the phone company.
I believe it.
Very funny movie.
They're all communists. Anyway, I mean, we had this. We had these lines repaired 3 weeks ago because we had this buzzing noise. The buzzing noise came back, and now I'm to the end of my rope with these people. I don't know what to do. It's just aggravating. I'm gonna have to call them tomorrow and yell. Anyway,
hey, back to the spook light.
Yes.
I didn't see it when I went there. I sat on this road that was really close to both Arkansas and Oklahoma, and I saw nothing. The most worrisome thing was a gunshot going off at 1:00 in the morning. If you're in rural Missouri, really close to Arkansas and Oklahoma, that should scare the heck out of anybody.
Definitely.
The weirdest thing I saw that night was around 1:30 or so, was a kid hood surfing. A drunken teenager hood surfing up and down Spooklight Road. That was pretty interesting.
Was he carrying a flashlight or a lantern?
But I interviewed people a woman who saw it when she was in high school in the 1920s. And when the interstate went through, people started blaming the interstate, lights from the interstate for that. Well, the interstate wasn't there when she saw it. And Indians had legends of it back in the early to mid 1800s when there weren't cars, so it wasn't that. What it is, I don't know. I just know I didn't see it.
That's too bad. Maybe the reason why I enjoyed the story was probably because references, like we have Brown Mountain Lights and the Ghost of
Mako
Ghost
lights,
of Mako Station. We have similar orb glowing light ball things floating along rural places in the state. But anyway, I enjoyed that story. There was another one in here.
Trent's looking through the book now.
I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Well, guys,
I don't want to look at things too scientifically. It's not nearly as fun.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah. If you guys want to call in but can't, obviously, why don't you just jump in to our chat room, and if you go to worldoftheunexplained.com, click on the chat button. I think you may have to register if you're not registered already, but there's a couple of us in there hanging out. You can just log in there, make up a name and a password, and come on in, and you can ask Jason your questions from the chat room, and we'll just go ahead and relay it to him.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess on that topic, so you don't want to be too scientific when you investigate these places. So I take it there wasn't a whole lot of equipment that you brought with you, say maybe a good camera and a notebook, or how did that work?
Right. I didn't want to go into this as a Ghostbuster. I wanted to go into this book as what I've been all my professional life, which has been a journalist. So I had a camera. I had a tape recorder sometimes. I don't really trust tape recorders that much, so I didn't have one very often. But and a pad of paper and pens. That's what I had. And I went into this to interview people, not to necessarily see things. If I did, that was cool. But to interview people who have seen things and felt things and heard things that they can't explain, and even people who've never experienced things in this spot. I wanted to get how it affected people who've been there. I also went to each one of these spots because I wanted to get the feel. I wanted to be able to see how everything looked, how shadows played on walls when a car drove by, or look at the people in the eye who I was interviewing to try and tell if are they BSing me or not. So I approached it as a journalist, not the ones who give the profession a bad name, but one of the other ones.
Yeah, the real ones.
The real ones. Oh, come on. Weekly World News is one of my favorite publications.
Well, I mean, they're great fiction writers.
Full of journalistic integrity. Go ahead.
And, I don't have a problem with those reporters because you know what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the ones who are supposed to be the straight reporters who feed you a bunch of crap.
CNN, New York Times, no.
Yeah.
Fox News, Fair and Balanced.
Hey, man, Fox News is
I'm
good.
one of the very few journalism instructors I know of who really doesn't like the New York Times.
Oh, we were taught the New York Times was just like the gospel from God. When I was learning how to write the inverted pyramid style, that was the gospel.
Right. If something happened, but the New York Times didn't have it, it really didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's crazy. But go ahead, Trent. You had something else you wanted to bring.
Yeah, I was going to talk about this. One of these stories I also enjoyed was the
Just
limp.
one?
Just one.
I said one. No, the Limp Mansion. And
Limp Mansion.
Right. There's a picture in here that you have where somebody had sprayed on the wall. Go back now. What was the deal with that? I mean, was it because it was dangerous, or people? It was just an interesting picture I noticed where it said "Go back now." Plus the mansion itself. Oh gosh, drop the book.
Oh, that's great.
Okay,
anyway,
well,
go ahead.
The mansion itself was built back in the late 1800s by German immigrants, and they started a brewery in St. Louis. Go figure. And it was a hugely popular beer at the time. The daughter of one of Limp's daughters married one of the Pabst sons.
Pabst. Oh gosh.
It kind of want to get off that, more of the college nightmares. Not to insult the Pabst Brewing Company.
No, not at all. Not
I
at all.
toured there when I was in college, so
Oh, really?
makes it okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the mansion is it's pretty old, and there have been multiple deaths and suicides in that house. There have been deaths from cancer. There have been a few of the children have killed themselves. One of the children, I think his name was William. It's been a year and a half since I wrote that chapter, so you'll have to look at that, look at it, see if it was William. But he killed himself, but before he did, he killed his dog because he didn't think anybody'd take care of the dog.
Yeah, I remember.
So
that.
it's had a lot of death associated with it, and when people stay there, it's a bed and breakfast now. They will see shadow people. They will hear a dog padding across the floor. Even though there's carpet now on what used to be wood floor, it sounds like the dog's nails are hitting the wood. They'll hear somebody kicking the door of a room while they're staying in the room. So a lot of really, really nice, creepy things have happened there. Friends of mine from St. Louis came with me when I was at the Limp Mansion, and the wife, we didn't know about the dog at this point. She was having a glass of tea in the bar area, and she felt a dog brush against her leg, and she looked down, and of course there wasn't one. So she had a dog story before she knew about the ghost of the dog.
That's creepy.
That is
Kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a house where a lot of, especially the mention of suicides, because it was consistent. You know, down the line, you know, one of the members of the family would kill themselves, and then, you know, later on someone would do the same thing, and so on and so forth. But anyway.
Yeah, rich people do wacky things.
Yes. I guess so.
Neither would I. He said I wouldn't know. I said neither would I. Oh my gosh.
So.
But the Limp Mansion's one of two places in the state that I went to that I did feel something. The cover of the book, you see all the doors in the hallway.
Uh-huh.
That's the third floor of the Limp Mansion,
Right.
which is also where the Go Back Now sign is. Actually, the Go Back Now sign, if I remember correctly, they do ghost tours. They put that there just to freak out the people on the ghost tour.
Oh, okay.
But on the third floor, it wasn't air conditioned at the time I was there. It was in the upper 90s. It was like 95 outside, so it had to be close to 100 inside. And I was just pouring with sweat. And I was walking down the hall, and all of a sudden I walked into a spot that was so cold it immediately dried my sweat. And I couldn't see my breath, so it wasn't that cold, but it was really noticeable. And I took a step forward, and it disappeared. Took a step back, and it was completely gone. And I was sweating again. But there could be a terrestrial explanation to it, but I don't know what it is.
It seems like a very bizarre circumstance. I mean, what? I don't know where I was going to go with that. Actually, I had a thought. Yes. What do you make of the cold spots then? You know, people associate those with spiritual activity, you know. Why does it have to be cold? I mean, can it also be unusually warm as well? You know, temperature fluctuations.
I'll give you a yes with that, because in the Pythian Castle in Springfield, there is a particularly strong presence in the second floor theater. And when I was in the second floor theater, I was standing by an open window, and there was a nice breeze blowing through, so it was really comfortable. And I felt slowly growing on me, my arms and my face. It felt like when you're standing over a stove, over an, you know, you've got a burner on, but you don't have anything on it. That's kind of what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And then it eventually faded and went away. But I had a cold breeze blowing on me. Other parts of my body were cold, but my arms and my face just grew really, really hot. So if it was spiritual in nature, yeah, it can be cold or hot.
I guess so. unusual.
As long as, excuse me, as long as no one whispers your name or anything from the corner of the dark room, I'd leave.
I did hear that once. I was playing cards with some friends. One of the guys' name was Vic, and we were playing cards in a basement, and it was an unfinished basement. Everything was just concrete. And from one of the corners, and we could see there was absolutely nothing there, a woman's voice said, "Victor."
Oh, God. Ugh.
So we all just kind of sit there and looked at each other like, did you
hear that?
So we finished the hand and went home.
Yeah, I can understand
I imagine
that.
so. That would probably be a game-ruining moment.
Oh, my
gosh.
gosh.
No, I mean, I have experienced a few things like I've said, but I don't want to. I mean, if I were in the movie The Amityville Horror and the voice said "get out," the movie would be 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I'd have left too.
I'd be gone.
Later.
All right. I'll be leaving. Good day.
I've always joked that I'm definitely the more lily-livered of the two of us, Trent and I. I would definitely run. I'm no qualms about that. I'm out. As Chuck says, we out. I'm splitting.
That would be
Now,
Scott's.
don't put it in the category of fear. You're just being sensible.
Exactly. Self-preservation is a very powerful thing.
Exactly.
But it's just it's amazing some of the experiences that you have sometimes going to some of these locations. I know when Trent and Chuck and I was before D came on board. We're at the what's the name of that place? Help me out. I got Twin Lakes Lodge.
Yes,
That's it.
Twin Lakes. That's right.
We were there, and the faders on the board started moving by themselves. The VCR behind John Zaffis and I came on by itself and freaked everybody out. I mean, just a lot of really weird stuff was going on.
It was
that
very
night.
odd.
And I'd never experienced anything quite like that. And it was, you should have heard Chuck in the archive for anyone that hadn't heard it. You can hear Chuck screaming like a little girl, and me too. And,
yes, Scott's
and
oh my God!
Oh my
God!
See that?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! Did you see that? Wow! Yeah.
It was just, it was very, it was different.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I was up there at the time, but
yeah,
I went downstairs, and then
yeah. Trent wasn't afraid. He went downstairs. Well, I went downstairs too, but I was just like making fun of everybody. I was talking into the mic going, ooh. I took it very unseriously. So
yeah, well, maybe to protect yourself,
Probably another one of those mechanisms.
Well, and I interviewed a guy who I asked him, well, what do you do if you're confronted with a negative energy? He said, just laugh, it'll go away. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't be there long enough for it to laugh.
Laugh as you run.
So yeah, I'd probably get one that'd be like, what are you laughing at?
Exactly.
You think I'm funny?
Am I a clown?
I amuse you. I spent several centuries here, trying to scare people, and you laughing at. I don't appreciate that.
I was making the Goodfellas thing.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know exactly where you're going with that.
Oh man. Well, when's the new book going to be done, Jason?
The new book going to be done. I'm not sure, and I'm really probably not going to talk that much about it because
I understand.
I don't have a contract yet.
I understand.
I'm a publisher who's interested, but I don't have a contract yet.
Okay.
Hopefully, it'll be out in mid to late 2008.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's what I'm shooting for.
What kind of advice do you have for people that want to write books?
First, master the craft of writing. Number one.
Yeah, like the English language.
Right, and people think, okay, I've been writing all my life. Ever since I got into kindergarten, I've been writing. Well,
right.
You haven't been taught how to do it right. It's a lot like if you were playing baseball and you can't hit a curveball. What do? You practice until you can hit the curveball. It's the same with writing. You need to practice, and you need to write literally every single day.
I mean, I think one of the other things too is if you don't read a lot, you're not going to know how to write.
Oh, I completely agree. And I'm not talking. Trying to think. I completely lost my train of thought with that author. But don't read romance books.
Yeah, they're trash. You're thinking of like Danielle Still. I know
that's
you're
the
talking.
one I'm
she's
going
awful.
for. Yeah.
Isn't she the one that doesn't have an editor?
I think so.
frankly, I've never read her, so I
I haven't.
shouldn't criticize her.
Well, no, I haven't read her either, but I had heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I think it was her that said that she would not have an editor, and how dare they even suggest such a thing, and basically told the publisher that what they get's what they print, and they said okay. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, she's not Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be able to say that.
But money's money.
Yeah.
And that's.
Well, I agree. If people are buying it, why not?
Now,
one of the authors I would suggest people
Stephen
read.
King. Stephen King is a great writer.
Stephen King is the guy I was just going to say.
Great writer. Did you read his book on writing? It came out a few years ago.
No, I was just going to bring that up too.
There we go.
That's weird. Okay.
If you don't really care about reading about Stephen King as a kid getting a bad ear infection, just don't. You don't have to read the first half of the book. But when he gets into writing suggestions,
good stuff.
It's great stuff. He kind of basically takes all that was told in Strunk and White's Elements of Style and
great book.
And which is a fantastic and cheap too. So
if you don't understand the difference between further and farther, you should look in Strunk and White.
Yeah, exactly. Or lay and lie.
Exactly.
Nobody knows what those two mean.
Kindred spirits.
Again, yeah, that's my advice. Learn how to write. Don't go by just what. Well, my girlfriend thinks it's cool. Okay, no, get join a writing group.
Well, I think Peter Straub's a good writer too.
Yes,
and
I will
Dean
agree.
Koontz. I like Dean Koontz. I know
Michael Crichton puts words together rather well, also.
Well,
and you could pick up my book, Haunted Missouri, Ghostly Guide to Show Me State's Most Spirited Spots.
Very, very well written. I want to tell one story because we've got to go on break here, but I want to tell it before. I saw an interview with some people on a biography. It was a biography of Stephen King. It came out years ago, I think right before the accident that he had or sometime very soon after it. And one of the people were like, I think it might have been Stephen King that was saying this. He said, well, when I grew up, and I grew up in Maine and everything, there was this one little boy down the road that he had this telephone book, and every time somebody would die, he would open the phone book and mark their name out of it.
That's great.
I just thought that was it. I remember that story. I'm like, what a freaky little kid. Right?
What a strange, what an odd little boy.
All right, Jason, hang tight with us. We're getting ready to take a break, guys. I'm sorry the phones don't work. Some of you have emailed me and told me you couldn't get in the chat. Well, email me your questions, and we'll do it that way. So,
and this is a paranormal show, so just think about it really hard.
Exactly.
That's right.
You can't get through.
We've been studying remote viewing.
That's right. Chuck's the remote viewing king. So we'll be back here in just a second. And if you can't get in tonight, you can catch Jason. He's going to be with us again next week for the second hour.
This is World of the Unexplained.
We have returned.
We have returned. Guys, our phone lines are not working, guys. We're really sorry about that. But if you can email us at worldoftheunexplained@gmail.com or jump in our chat room and type up questions for Jason Offutt in this last couple of minutes we got, then we'll definitely relay them.
Yeah, I'm mad. It's Chuck's fault. His remote viewing talent should have been able to pick this up.
And my major question is, if the phones aren't working, how are they talking to me?
Well, the line that we have the guest on is on different. It's on a different thing. So we've got that line, and then we got the other line for the guest. I mean, it's two different systems, and they're actually two different providers.
So that might be the reason.
that's probably the reason, because Embark sucks. So. I'm going to call them tomorrow.
There's a ringing endorsement.
They do my business phones. I have
Mark, lame.
I have no control over it. I called their Yellow Page people. I was wanting to put an ad in the Kernersville Yellow Pages, right? Because my office is there. I ended up going with Bell South and Winston because, first of all, Bell South has like a 500,000 distribution, and it's also owned by AT&T. Well, this Embark's got it was old Sprint stuff, and their circulation's like 50,000. I'm like, give me a break. It's like, plus that, and I called them first before I called AT&T, and they never even called me back. I had to call them twice. I'm like, I have to call you twice to get your Yellow Page guy to come to me? No, thanks.
Good customer
no,
service.
Thanks. Yeah, that's so gay. Exactly. That is very gay. All right.
I foresee in the future very limited Embark advertising on the show.
Yeah, I foresee that too. Without the remote viewing. Now, you were telling us on the break about a UFO crash in Missouri that happened before the famous Roswell incident. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Right. 6 years before the Roswell incident. This was in 1941. it was between Cape Girardeau, which is in southeastern Missouri, and Sikeston, Missouri. There's about 30 miles in between those two, if I remember correctly. I was interviewing a woman whose father worked in the military down in that area. There was a base in that area, and it was not the Air Force, because the Air Force didn't exist at that point, but for the Army. And he died without telling her anything about it. And she eventually read some of his old papers and got really curious and started investigating her dad's past in the military. And that took her down to Sikeston and in the Cape Girardeau area. And what she found was in 1941, around 8 9 o'clock at night, something crashed into some trees out in some wooded area. And local authorities went out, police, sheriff, fire, went out to see what it was. The military and the FBI eventually got out there, and a Baptist minister from Cape Girardeau named William Huffman was asked to come out. He got a call, and he was asked to deliver last rites on the pilot and passengers of the aircraft. Well, on his deathbed, he told his granddaughter that it wasn't an airplane, and they weren't people. The things he did the last rites on were not people. Huh. And the woman I spoke with, not the granddaughter, talked to some other people who were in senior citizen housing who said the same story. They were, close to death. They were like, I don't have anything to, worry about now. Yeah, it was a UFO that crashed, and there were aliens, and the military and the FBI came and took everything away. The weird thing about it was the woman's name is Linda Wallace that I'm talking about. She did research into newspaper archives, and the newspapers from that year, from the month that was supposed to have happened, had lines of stories completely blacked out. Even on the microfiche, she was looking, and the whole newspaper was complete except for certain stories were black. She also checked with the fire department, the sheriff's department, and the police departments that were in that area. They don't have any records from 1941.
Huh.
All of the records from the military and the military base in the area and the other agencies I talked about were moved to one building, and darn if the building didn't catch on fire.
Imagine that.
Oh, how coincidental.
Wow, that's you don't really hear it. Chuck's scrolling through the internet looking at some of these. He's actually finding some stuff about it. Yeah, well, you need to spell Cape right, yes. Chuck. That might help. But yeah, he's actually finding some stuff here. The first Roswell 1941 crash retrieval in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Ryan Wood reviews the evidence of extraterrestrial spacecraft crash retrieval in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, spring 1941, including document evidence and the testimony of Reverend Huffman, as related by his granddaughter Charlotte Mann. That's interesting.
That's a pretty interesting story. Now, I mean, that's kind of a story you could just kind of discount on a surface. But Linda Wallace, a woman who was investigating it, found this other information that I think helps confirm Charlotte Mann's testimony.
Huh. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Of course, this also wasn't the first Roswell. The first Roswell happened in the late 1800s, again, allegedly, in Aurora, Texas. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not, no.
Yeah, I remember.
Trent is, okay.
Yeah, and an aircraft in the late 1800s was supposed to have crashed into a windmill in town, and there was a body that they took out of it that wasn't human that they buried in the local cemetery.
Huh. Wonderful.
I do remember that, yep.
Is that the one Jim Mars was on TV talking about wanting to dig?
I don't know, but since Mars is from Texas, I'm sure he did.
Probably. I bet he's on the FBI's most listened to list. You know he is, so. Man. You know he is.
In the FBI, I'm positive I've got an FBI file.
Oh, I'm sure I do too.
I've written a humor column for years, and back during the Clinton administration, I called the White House.
Oh, my God.
Because I was writing a humor column on government spending, and I wanted to find out what brand toilet paper Clinton used. Because if he was using some fancy 3-ply stuff and not always save stuff he gets at the grocery store, as a taxpayer, I was concerned.
Well, it's kind of like the $400 Edwards haircut.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
As if Obama and Hillary.
Oh, I know. I do feel bad they give the guy grief about his haircut. I really do. It is kind of funny, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because those.
Back where I am in Northwest Missouri, I get a haircut for $10.
Yeah, I get a haircut for $10 too. Actually, $10 too. No, but yeah, it's yeah, I know. Dee's letting his hair grow out like Chuck. You're gonna be a hippie-looking guy. Hippie liberals I'm surrounded by. It's scary here. No, I know. I'm messing. But it's some strange stuff going on out there. I know that it's just the stories from all over the place. They're increasing on the UFO stuff. They're increasing on the sightings of these kind of not only extraterrestrials but ghosts and spirits and I don't know if it's just because people today we have more of a better way to report it with the internet and everything like that. It's so much faster, or if there is an actual increase in the paranormal.
I really, because I've thought a lot about this and I've talked about it in classes. I think a lot of the information we get now is because we've got a 24-hour news cycle. 30 years ago, we had Cronkite. We had a newspaper in the morning, one in the evening, and Cronkite at night. That's how we got our news. And now we've got news 24 hours a day, and they need to fill it.
That's true. And that's why we get so tired of the latest thing that they just run it into the ground.
Well, right. I mentioned Cronkite. You think he would have reported on Paris Hilton going to jail? No. That wouldn't have happened.
Or Lindsay Lohan.
Who cares?
But I think it's just the fact that the news, we have to fill the space with something.
Yeah.
So what do they pick? They pick crap.
Stuff that'll generate
pop culture.
Yeah, something that'll generate
advertising,
exactly,
right.
Chuck.
But on the paranormal and news, the paranormal is not really covered in news nearly as much as it should be. That's one of the reasons I love the Internet, is because it's an outlet for this information to get out. I love radio programs like yours because it's an outlet to get information that the mainstream is not going to cover out to the public.
Well, yeah, tell all your friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, Chuck and I are getting ready to do a political show probably in the next few months, but that should be fun.
Yeah, find out whatever happened to Ross Perot. That'd be a great show.
He's still a billionaire. I have an idea. What do you think? Well, thanks so much for coming on tonight, Jason. We're gonna
go ahead and
give you the kick. But we're gonna see you next week. Is that cool?
Hey, that's fantastic. I look forward to coming back on the World of the Unexplained. And before I leave, can I drop my website again?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go for it.
Okay. My book is Haunted Missouri, A Ghostly Guide to the Show Me State's Most Spirited Spots. You can pick it up on my website. I've got a link to the publisher. My website's www.jasonoffutt, that's JASONOFFUTT.com. I've also got a paranormal blog that is currently on hiatus, but I've got quite a few cool stories on there at from-the-shadows.blogspot.com. And if you've got a scary story, let me know about it at jasonoffutt@hotmail.com.
All right.
Fair enough.
Thanks so much, Jason. We'll talk to you again next week,
we'll
okay?
see you next week.
I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right, Jason Offutt.
That
was a good show.
He's a cool
good
guy,
guest.
man. Yeah.
What is this?
I agree.
I have some news. Oh, really? Can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh, Dee's letting me say it on the air. Dee has some news. Gail and him are expecting a child.
Well,
congratulations, man. A baby. Oh, wow. That's all. When did you find this out?
About a month ago.
About a month ago. Didn't tell nobody.
Yep.
I see how it is.
Congratulations, D.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome. At what point do they actually know whether it's a boy or a girl? How long does that take?
When he pays to have it done.
When he pays to have it done? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I thought there's like a formative period, right, before you can actually tell, though. I mean, 4 or 5 months, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a gynecologist, but I can learn. All right. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That's really cool, D. Congratulations.
Yeah, very, very much so. Congratulations.
Thanks. I've been wanting to tell everybody. No, I gotta wait.
Yeah, she made you wait to tell. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Well, yeah, okay. We got about 8 minutes left, so we're just
Anyway,
gonna. I'm sorry, the phone lines are down. That just really stinks, man.
Embark.
Yeah, we got your
suck.
number. No. Yeah, watch them after this. They're going to cut our
Lame.
phones off for good. Like, no more Embark. Right?
Boo.
No more Embark for you.
Cease and desist order.
Yeah, that's right. We'll get sued. It's just what I need. Yeah, we'll just edit this out. Blank, you suck. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the listeners are.
Yeah, exactly.
Trent just said we suck.
It's awful. It's
Yeah.
There's we mentioned it so many times that I'm really too lazy to go through and edit it. So I don't know. I'll give that job to Chuck. He can remote view the areas, and I need to stop the editing process.
Ticker counter 1.15.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Boom. Sense time. Yeah, right there. Stop now. Yeah. Highlight that area. Okay. Drop
Anyway.
it.
That's cool though. So we got that hour plug then for next week. Which
Yeah,
is kinda
next
cool.
week Robbie Thomas and
He speaks to dead people supposedly.
yeah, he does. Robbie Thomas and Jason Offutt. So that should be a good show.
Yeah. We'll talk about his He was talking about his paranormal blog. Weird things that were going on with that. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we can get more into the book too. We kind of rambled around tonight, like normal.
Well, that's our leitmotif after all. Did I just use the word leitmotif?
I think it's the first time in the history of the show that you've used the phrase leitmotif. And yeah.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
All right, Frenchie.
I got a very funny laugh that's not very appropriate.
Well,
you know what I'm talking about, Scott.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Gosh. Wow. Yeah. So
Makes you wonder, what is it?
What is it?
So, anyway.
You want
yeah,
some
that's
background
true.
noise?
Why
We got 7 minutes, man. You want to crank the music up now?
Well, what kind of other songs are on the CD?
I
Is
don't
it the
know.
same thing?
I have no. Actually, it's different stuff. I think Brokeback Mountain's on there or something. No, it's not on that one.
That's on one of these other ones.
Oh, I'm gonna put on one now because we can do that.
Bill and Lunar or something, man. Seriously.
All right, go ahead.
Oh,
What is it?
Oh no.
What is this?
God, I hear this song all the time, man. Please, the listeners hate. They hate coming home too. I'm telling you, they might not tell you that, but they do.
Right before he wrote it.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know this song.
Is he married now to the girl that he got engaged to?
I'm sorry, I have no
Really?
idea what the song is.
You don't. It's because you don't hear it during the break. Yeah.
Oh.
You don't hear it during the break. I hear it every time I edit the show
really?
down for the
Okay,
podcast.
well, all
yeah.
right. How about this? I'll just.
Yeah, he doesn't
just-
know what the song is. My God,
Well, I don't. I'm sorry.
it drives me insane.
What's this one? What's number 2?
This is your buddies, man.
Oh man! Oh gosh! This is the other one I hate. 'Cause I just hear it over and over again. Oh my god!
Have a nice day, Scott.
Yeah. Everybody's gonna log. Everybody that we do have listening online is gonna be like, "Man, we're out, dude. We are out."
All right.
They're gonna be out before Chuck tells them we're out.
I just didn't even know what. I didn't know what the other songs on the CD were. Okay.
He was curious, man.
I didn't know, and I don't hear them. So.
There's the old standby.
Now you know.
And now I know, and I'll never do that again.
Thank God.
But
Yeah.
now we can put some other music in there. We all got all these CDs. Remember?
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
we
cool
can
stuff?
we can do that. We're gonna get our license back. Yay! Because we're no longer with Planet Paranormal because they kicked everyone off, and so OmniSound's going to be one of our main providers again.
Yeah.
So I'll
Coming after them.
have to check around, and yeah, no. RIAA is not gonna bother them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got grandfathered or what exactly happened with that. I don't keep up with all that. I just know what they tell me. So
Yeah.
You know
That's fair
me.
enough.
yeah. The server issue. We're not with OmniSound broadcasting tonight. The server is not going out to them. I don't know why. We had some issues. We had all kinds of technical problems tonight. It's been really weird.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh, don't mention that.
Let me introduce you to my little friend.
Supposed spiritual
The supposed spiritual
entity
friend.
going
Well, let's see. The
on.
only thing I have to plug now, I guess, is paranormalcruise.com. Guess that's it.
How about that book, Scott?
What book?
The Great Deception.
Man, I've put that book down because I'm working on other things right now.
Okay. I was just
I'm
wondering
trying to
because
start a law practice.
I haven't
It's
heard about it. in a while.
Yeah, I know. It's because I put it down a while back and
Okay.
I haven't picked it back up. And
That's fair.
I know, it's awful. We do have a guest coming up that I don't have a date on yet, and he's really cool. And I can't wait to have him on. His name's Paul Williams.
Is he the guy with the
Day of Islam?
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to look forward to reading that book. Are
Yeah.
you done with it?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Dude, all I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, I'll say this again.
Stop.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's,
Oh my God! The monster is loose! Quickly, assemble the mob. We shall put him in the windmill and set it on fire, because fire is what he is most afraid of.
yeah, okay.
Look
all right.
out,
All right,
people.
that's just too stupid.
Yeah, the windmill full of absinthe. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was good. That was pretty good, Scott. Your Frankenstein impersonation.
It's just the way I feel, man.
Yeah.
I just feel. It's the way I feel. I'm just so tired, and people always want money from me, and it's just awful. I don't have any money, and they just want more and more. And I'm like, I keep looking at my bank account, and it keeps going down and down and down, and it's just like, when is this going to end? Dear Lord, I need more coming in. I need something coming in. It's just really, it's just rough right now, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I don't know. I shouldn't be even laughing at it, but maybe it's just your tone of character.
I'm just so drained.
It seems so comical, you know.
I know. I thought this was going to be all fun. I get to be my own boss. Yeah.
No. Well, you
that's
remember?
fun.
I mean, that time we were in a not to be mentioned electronics corporation.
Yeah, that was
you
fun.
know, can we mention that?
No.
Okay. Right, not to be mentioned electronics corporation.
Just don't associate myself with it. That's
Yeah.
all.
But I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it
That
had
was
its good
pretty tough.
times and its bad times.
Yeah.
But see, this is different because,
Right,
well,
because you're shelling out more money, and there
Well,
it was
yeah,
sort of
and-
like you just went.
yeah, we really didn't have an office or anything then.
Right.
It was just, yeah, we just kind of worked everything by cell phone back in those days
Right.
and contacts. And this is, I got Yellow Page ad. I've got,
You got us
office.
spending the money.
Big
you know?
office building, or, or a big office. Not really a big office building, but a big office. And, just all this equipment that I bought and all these, the whole professional degree thing and
Yeah.
license to practice thing.
You
and-
don't want to have like a little cardboard shanty on
No,
the
of
side of
course
the road
not,
like Lucy has with psychiatric advice for 5 cents, and you can put legal advice
10.
10 cents. Although I would find that very funny in a way, but
Yeah.
not very profitable.
Definitely not. Oh, wow. Even John says, yeah, that music gets bothering after a while. No joke, John. No joke, buddy. I know your pain, my friend. I know your pain.
Well,
guys, we're going to get out of here. Next week, I
That's
promise
fair
to be more eventful, and I'll try not to be as run down, and we'll try to make it a much better show. Not that this was a good show. It was just different.
yeah, I agree. I like that guy.
I wish we could have stayed more on topic. We floated around a lot more tonight than we usually do.
Well, it happens.
How many times does this start and repeat itself? Oh, anyway. Well, I'm Jay Scott, your tired man. Anyway. Esquire.
This is Trent Lackey. We're still in Kernersville. Yeah, it's a small town. Yeah, we're still talking about very big things. And Chuck.
The man with a plan.
Pause. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait.
Wait for it.
We out.